Hello guys and welcome to this channel. In this video I will be showing you how to make a casual hat like the one you saw in the picture previously. So first thing we need to have on ground is the measurement of the head that we want to sew the hat for. So second is the pieces we need to join together to make up this hat. So for this hat, all we need is basically three pieces of material. This, which is the circular, the center of the head, and this one that has a curve, and then this straight one like a rectangular piece. So these are the three basics that we need to prepare for the making of this hat. But let me also remind you that the hat, as well as having the outside look, it has the inside look too. The inside has to be neat. So for this each pieces that I show you, you have to make a second piece for each one. This has to have two pieces. This has to have two. Likewise, this one has to have two. Why? One for the outside of the hat and one for the inside, so that the inside of the hat will be neat. Before I go into the details, let me give you a picture of the concept. So here we have the circular piece. What we would end up doing is we will sew this rectangular piece all the way around like we have in this. That's the piece here. Circular is the one here. The rectangular is the one around here. And the third piece is the one at the edge of the hat. So the picture is we sew this rectangle all the way around, and then after that being done, we now attach this piece that has the curve like circular at the edge, so it makes up the hat. Sorry. So let me rephrase or repeat that. This is the center, the circular bit. We join we join the rectangular all the way around. After doing that, we now join this last piece. So that is the concept of how the cap or the hat, is being done. So I will next go into the details of how it come to play. I said earlier on, you have to have two pieces of each piece that we cut out. So for example, this one has two pieces because we have to sew the two together. And the circular also has two pieces. One piece, and this is gonna go under like this. Sew it round. And the rectangular piece also have a second piece, which is this one. So each pieces have to have two, each three basic cuts that we made. We have to have two pieces of each one. Also remind you the circular bit, which is the top, it needs to have a padding so that the cap will, have a shape. So this is a piece that you can get from your tailoring shops. It's a thick material, something like this, where you cut out the shape and you iron it onto the piece you want. So it makes it thick. Okay? And also we have another paper piece. It has glue on it. That is what we are going to use for this part of the hat and this part. We don't want these two parts to be too firm, to be too thick like the circular top. We want it to be flexible. So we're going to use a softer, they call it stay in the country where I come from. It's like a paper piece. It has some glue on it. Once you iron it onto the piece you want, it makes it slightly thick. And there are different thicknesses, but for this we want something light, so that at the end of the day the hat will be flexible here, but here it can be firm and thick. But these two places we want it a little bit flexible and not too light either. So that is the reason why we'll iron this onto each of the pieces. No, not each, sorry, the two remaining piece. The circular one already has a thick, you know, ironed onto it. But the other two pieces will have a lighter material ironed onto it to give it a little bit of firmness. We don't want it too soft. And some people may do without this, but right. So we're going to iron this onto each of the two pieces. So we have 1, 2, 3 pieces. The first circular, the rectangular roundabout, and the edge of the hat. Those are the 3 basic pieces that we are going to knit together to make up this hat. The material you want to use for this is not too thick. That is when you really need to add this piece of glued paper onto it, which is sold at some shops, But if the material is thick like jeans material, you probably not need this. You just need the 2 pieces joined together without this in the middle. Guys, as you can see now, the paper piece has been glued, ironed to the pieces. So we have 2 pieces of this, and here also the paper stuff lining has been ironed onto this one too. And we still have this apart, this already has something, ironed onto it, which makes it thick. So guys, we have 2 piece, 2 piece, 2 piece. So now we are about to join the 2 pieces together before we combine the whole piece. Show you this circular bit. Can you see that? Because it's circular. That's what goes all the way around. You see, it's circular. Okay, just want to highlight that aspect. As to the rectangular bit, so let me bring you. So that's the circular bit, the rectangular bit, and the head. The fact that we use a sewing machine to make our clothes does not rule out the fact that needle and thread, hand sewing, does not come into play. It actually helps our job easier. So the circular bit, can you see? I want to tack it together with hand needle. Why? Because it will hold it in place so that when I'm sewing, it doesn't shift. It plays a good an importance here. So I would just go round this and sew with my hand. It won't take long. You can make it long stitches, so long as it's holding it down, that the edges are matched, So this is quite handy. Yes, handy and very useful to make our job easier. So I'm going to tack it, hand sew it with large stitches all the way around, just to make sure the circular are matched. Each pieces are matched edge by edge. You can see I have used hand needle and thread to tack this all the way around, just to hold it in place, like I said earlier, so that when we're sewing, it doesn't shift out of the way, or one piece doesn't shift away from the other. We have 2 pieces tacked together. Likewise, the rectangular bit, can you see I've tacked that one all the way too? I have 2 pieces here. I've tacked it together so that when we're sewing, it will not shift out of place. Oh, I also feel more comfortable with tacking this with needle and thread all the way around so that it's held into place. So I think I will go ahead and do that. I will just have to make large stitches so that I get round to the end in a shorter period of time. I have used hand needle to tack this also all the way around. Yeah, so now what I need to do now is to sew these edges all the way around. Now that I've sewed all the way around these edges with the sewing machine, I can equally remove all the tacks, all this that I used needle and thread to sew. I can remove all those now so that I can turn this inside out. Now, let's not turn this inside out. So this is what we get. What we get, guys. So you can use your iron to just press down this all the way down the edges so that this can be smoother. Can you see it? So that this can be smoother. Can you see it? So guys, this is the edge here. Give you a little trick here. When you have sew curves like this, it's always good to just put some little slits all the across, all the way across. Little slits like this, making sure you don't get to the sewn bit. Slits, little slits with the scissors all the way across. What that does, it makes the when you unfold, it makes here smoother and it stays without creasing. That this has been ironed. Can you see? This is what we get now, guys. That's the edge of the hat all the way. So now that this has been ironed, you will see that some places the edges are not matching. So all you need to do is just get your scissors and trim, making sure these two pieces match before we sew it onto the next piece. To join this circular piece to the rectangular piece. As you can see, I have joined the circular bit to the rectangular. So this is the inside. And I can as well remove all the tacks that I put, the threads from the hand sewn or needle and thread bits. I can remove all those bits. And then turn this inside out. So this is what we have now, guys. Can you see? We're getting close to it. So there we are. There we are. Can you see what we have now, guys? So this is what we have. So we are now left to add this remaining piece all the way around the edges. So again, I would advise that we employ the needle and thread again to tack all the way around to make sure that these edges are joined neatly before we use the sewing machine to sew the third piece onto it. So we need to use the needle and thread right now to sew all the way around to make sure this edges match. We can employ the pins as well, just to just to hold it in place as we check if they are matching before we now put in the thread through. So we can use it. And now left to add this remaining piece all the way around the edges to form our hat. So guys, our cap is done. Can you see it? This is our camp. So I'll